This is ToRAISE Questions Doula podcast, and this is Thérèse Hakun. As you may know, I'm Executive Director of ToLabor, which is an international doula training and certifying program. Well, I'm back, and today I'm again by myself. Melanie was not able to be here, but that's okay. We're going to have a great conversation with two women who run an organization up in Minneapolis, Minnesota called Everyday Miracles. They are an organization that's committed to reducing health disparities and improving birth outcomes for moms and babies at high risk. And it's a great program and really great people. And I just really am looking forward to having a conversation with them. But before we get started, I just want to thank you for listening. As always, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the podcast if you aren't already. That helps us for visibility. Also, if you enjoy our podcast, please pass it on to other doulas, childbirth educators, birth workers, moms. We have all different people listening to us, and the more out there, the more we're known about as far as doulas go, and we want more compassionate care out there. If you're interested in attending one of the ToLabor doula workshops, we'd love to have you. Check out our website calendar, tolabor.com, and see where we're going to be this year. We're still adding some workshops in, but it's getting pretty full. If we are not in your community, please send an email to Nicole at tolaborworkshops@gmail.com, and she can discuss with you maybe the possibility of bringing a workshop into your community. And if that's not feasible, we hope that you'll consider, if possible, traveling to a workshop and making it not only a learning experience on a personal level, but maybe you can get some personal time as well. I just taught recently, and one woman who is the mother of 7 was staying in a hotel for the weekend by herself, and you could see the joy in her eyes, and also the, oh my God, is everything okay at home? But there was joy in her eyes, and she could just concentrate those 3 days on just being in this safe cocoon that I hope we help create at every workshop. So please check that out. We have quite a few coming up for the rest of the spring, summer, and into the fall. And Latch Mama is always our great sponsor, and we're grateful to them. So please support them and check out their website at latchmama.com and their Facebook page and join their community. They have a great interactive community and blog that takes place online. And to all of you, if you are enjoying this podcast, please just continue to do so. But if you are able to donate anything to us, we would greatly appreciate that to keep this running. We do have production costs and so forth, but we do this for free, but donations are always welcome, no matter what the amount is. You can find the donate page button on the podcast page. We appreciate it. So I'm just putting that out there. So we will be back in a moment with Debby and Melissa. So we're back with the founder and assistant of Everyday Miracles, Debby Prudhomme and Melissa Gutierrez Nelson. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
We're really excited to get an opportunity to hear more about your great organization. But, Debby, since you are the founder of the organization, I would love to hear a little bit first about you as a person, who you are, family background, what drew you to this, maybe just in a elevator speech kind of what Everyday Miracles is. And then, Melissa, we'd love to hear the same from you as well.
Thank you very much. I'm a mother of 2 grown women, each who has 1 child. I have a 19-year-old granddaughter and a 4-month-old grandson.
Wow, what a difference in age.
It's a big difference, so it's really fun.
Yeah, I bet.
One. I became a doula in 1998, actually after the birth of my granddaughter. I was with her mom during labor and delivery. And shortly after that, somebody asked me if I could do whatever I wanted. What would that be? And it was to be with women during birth. I had never heard of a doula. I didn't know that it was even within the realms of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I was working in administration in a dental office. I actually worked there for 20 years and then became a doula and fell in love with the work and left that job, went to a part-time job that was very supportive of my doula work. And through the doula work, specifically with hospital on-call programs, one of them in the cities here had a program that had money through the local Healthy Start.
Mm-hmm.
Served women with doulas that they met ahead of time. But it was a very, very strict criteria. English as a second language, had to be within a certain age bracket, needed to live in a certain county. And my then business partner and I were going to local teen parenting schools to talk. And not all of those young women qualified for that funding. So then we were volunteering for the birth and just thought, why don't we just start a nonprofit that serves everybody with not such strict criteria for qualifications to the programming.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2003, June of 2003, we incorporated Everyday Miracles, and here we are.
Wow. And your co-founder was Mary Williams, is that correct?
Correct.
And,
no longer with the program.
Mm-hmm.
It's been gone about a year, a little over a year.
Well, that's marvelous. I mean, I love the idea of not knowing anything about this, finding some kind of inspiration, motivation in the birth of your granddaughter, and then here's what unfolds. I mean, that's just the amazing thing. We never know where life is going to take us, and who knew, right? You were a mother, a dental, working in a dental office, and then here you are, head of a fabulous nonprofit all these years later. I love these kinds of stories.
Yeah, and it seems to me through my life experiences as experiences that we have that we may at the time perceive as a bit of a struggle or unexpected blessing per se, that things come from that.
We always hope that they will. We don't always know they will. That's for darn sure. But that's always in the back of my head, though it is hard for me sometimes to grasp them as gifts at the moment. It's like, I'll return them to the return department, I think. I'd rather not have this.
Granddaughter loves hearing you say that her coming into my life totally changed my life.
Yeah, I hear that.
It really did.
Yeah. And Melissa, what about you? Tell us a little bit about who you are.
So I came into the birth world through yoga. So I was a yoga teacher and group fitness instructor for many years, and started to work in training and kind of fell in love with that. It was a mesh of all the things that I loved. I loved birth. I have 3 teenagers of my own, and my children were born with doulas. My oldest son was born in 1999, and I had a doula then, which wasn't the norm in the late 90s. I was the rare person who had a doula, but it was a wonderful experience, and I really believed in doula support even then. And after I kind of started specializing in prenatal yoga, I took a doula training, not really meaning to be a doula, but just thinking that it would help me support my yoga students a little bit more comprehensively on their mats, because it had been a while since I had given birth myself, and went to this doula training and kind of fell in love. And, you know, as it is with many women who come into the doula, really sparked a passion in me that I just kept following. And I found Everyday Miracles specifically a little bit randomly. I found them on a Google search, actually, when I was looking for spaces to rent to teach prenatal yoga, and they were in my area, and I read about the work that they were doing with families who really, really needed support and education the most and who weren't able to get it, and just fell in love with what they were doing, and basically called Debby and Mary and said, "Hi, I found you on Google, and I love what you're doing, and how can I be connected with you?" And it just kind of went from there. So I joined Everyday Miracles first as a doula and did work with them as a doula and taught some classes, and then I've been here in this position working with the doula program and our classes for about 2 years.
So your role specifically is, what is your title?
I'm doula and education coordinator. So I work directly with our doulas and with clients. So I do the matching of the doulas with clients and kind of help support the doulas and help facilitate the things that the clients need to work with doulas, and then also coordinate all of our childbirth education classes.
Wow. Great. So one of you, whomever wants to speak, and you can interrupt each other, because I'm certainly good at doing that, and we'll probably do that with you all as well. Give us the mission statement or the overview of what Everyday Miracles are, because a lot of people listening have no idea except for my quick introduction earlier.
I'll let Debby speak.
So our mission statement is our mission is to support women regardless of their socioeconomic background. So we serve women at no charge if they're covered under a Medicaid plan, with the goals of reducing health disparities and improving birth outcomes.
And so I guess I have a bunch of questions that just popped into my head. One is, though, the women who are on Medicaid or who can then get zero out-of-pocket care. Is that correct?
Correct.
And
we set it up that way so that we don't have to ask income.
Sure.
Because that feels kind of degrading in a way.
And I think the hard part, having been in situations where that has had to been asked, both on my end and personally, and then professionally asking of it, besides discomfort, there's so many variables around that income and reporting of such that I get where I think that's a great idea of just encapsulating, okay, if you qualify for Medicaid, then you qualify for our program. So how does it work that it is zero out of pocket? Who is paying for the services that will then be offered, which we'll talk about what those services are?
Okay. Well, in the state of Minnesota, back in 2014, a law was passed that requires Medicaid to cover doula services.
Isn't that just so awesome? I know I talk about that in workshops, like, there it is. And the reason behind it was they just saw such a reduction, isn't that correct, in like cesareans and
cesareans and preterm births and low birth weight, increased breastfeeding rates. So it's a huge cost savings.
Right.
The reimbursement rate is incredibly low.
Well, that's what I always present it as. It's not just that we see it as such a positive for all of the things that you just listed, which obviously those who were conducting the study were also, or offering this as a study, wanted those things. But I think the real motivator in the end is the financial, as far as the government would look at it. that's the big picture. So, and I believe the other state that initiated this is Oregon, but I'm not aware of any other state who has this program currently. Is that correct?
Not that I'm aware of, and I think Oregon's rate is even less than what we get.
Yes, it is very. So do you mind if I ask what is the reimbursement for? And if that does not feel comfortable, you do not have to answer that.
I don't mind at all. It's public knowledge. So we are allowed up to 6 visits with no pre-authorization required, and the birth. And the total for those services would be $411.26.
$411.26.
26 cents.
Right, got it. I heard, and I may be incorrect, and so one of our listeners can correct me on this, but that in Oregon, I believe it's like $50.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, which is, I mean,
really,
it's it's a beginning, but it's certainly, well, that's a whole nother discussion. So, and do you, go ahead.
The study that just came out of, I'm so sorry to interrupt, a study that just came out of the U of M in 2016, the University of Minnesota School of Public Health, showed that the break-even rate for doula services, what doula services was saving Medicaid was $986 a birth. So what we're actually saving versus what the reimbursement actually is to the doulas there's a big disparity there.
Right. So they're saying they are saving $986.
That's what the study showed.
Right. And then
Data that we provided.
And then the doulas are being paid $411 and that 26 cents.
That's what the reimbursement rate to the organization is.
Okay. And okay. And yes, I saw that study that you're talking about, and it showed that the cesarean rates for those who went through your organization was 17%. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Which is just about half of the national average, which is phenomenal. You would think, and I think this is going to be the trend. Well, except our administration has different views on things, but you would think this would be the trend if we can see such a reduction in certain costs, both physically and monetarily, that there would be an initiation of this.
I mean, if we're trying to cut healthcare costs, it seems like a really easy way to start doing that.
Absolutely. So I'm going to be jumping around here. I have more questions about all of this, but I want to first talk about the services that you do offer, because you do have the doula program, and there's different doula programs, if I'm correct, and then you also offer classes. So can you give us an overview of what classes you offer and what the different doula programs are?
Yes, so we have our core doula program, which is our clients that we serve that are on Medicaid, who can take our classes and use our services at zero out-of-pocket fee. And then we have our Karma program, which is a program that's meant to help sustain our nonprofit work that we do. So all of our services, our doula services and our classes, are available to anyone who wants to hire a doula or anyone who takes a class. And then a meaningful percentage of that doula fee and of our class fees goes back to support our nonprofit program. So those are kind of the two main doula programs that we have. We also have a partnership with a local hospital to provide on-call doula support for their clients. So no prenatal or postnatal contacts. Those clients can come into the hospital and say, I would like a doula for my birth, and then a doula can come and support them just for labor.
Right. And is that a no-fee program?
It depends on who's delivering. So a mom could come in and pay.
Okay.
Cash, check, she would pay for the services. If it's a mom covered under Medicaid, it would be at no cost.
Got it. And then your classes that you offer, Melissa, what are they?
We have a lot of different classes that we offer. So we have a traditional Lamaze-based childbirth education series, and then we also offer that as a one-day crash course. We have breastfeeding classes. We have more topical-based workshops. So for our clients that maybe are not able to commit to a whole 4-week series,
right.
We have, or maybe they're a second-time mom and they don't need the basics. We have more topical-based classes that rotate. So we offer a comfort measures class, a labor and birth basics class, a postpartum class, a newborn basics class. We have a VBAC class, a vaginal birth after cesarean class. We have prenatal yoga that we hold 2 times a week. And then we have a prenatal group and education class that is in Somali language. So one of our Somali doulas leads that class as well. Because
you have a very large population of Somalians.
Yes, Minnesota in general has a very high percentage of Somali immigrants, and then a huge percentage of our clients specifically are of Somali background as well.
Okay. And then do you offer, I think on your website it mentions acupuncture and chiropractic. Are those part of your services that are offered as well?
Yes, we have a chiropractor that we partner with. So it's their own organization, but they are in-house. We share space with them. And so she's a chiropractor that works with all families, but has a particular specialty in prenatal and postnatal women, and she accepts Medicaid, which is rare for chiropractors.
Right.
Our clients are able to have access to this service that they can greatly benefit from, and many just don't have access to. And then we have a partnership with a acupuncture school, and they provide community acupuncture at no charge at our space once a week.
That's wonderful. So all of this is under the same roof?
Correct.
So it's one of those one-stop shop kinds of places.
On very, very busy, chaotic roof.
I bet it must be. And
our education for our Medicaid members.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Distribution.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you and then I didn't hear what you said.
Car seat education and the distribution of car seats.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And I would assume there must be baby wearing kinds of classes as well, perhaps, or not. I don't know.
We have a baby wearing group that meets here once a month.
Yeah, I would assume your place is some place where people would say, hey, can we have a group? Can we do this?
We have La Leche daycare once a month also.
What is it, a daycare?
La Leche.
Oh, I thought you said daycare. Wow, that's pretty.
Geez, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And so what is the demographic of your, of the women, the families that are coming through? I mean, you said Somalian, and I assume then that's the greater majority. But who else comes through the doors of Everyday Miracles?
It's very diverse. That umbrella of those that qualify for Medicaid is actually quite a big umbrella. And so
Sure.
We have doulas that speak Somali, Hmong. We have a big Hmong population here in St. Paul specifically, and we have doulas that speak Spanish. And so we are able to work with clients that speak those languages. A pretty high percentage of our clients are immigrants. And from there, it's really diverse. We have everyone from, young moms, young teen moms, to young families, to people that are finishing their PhD and are graduate students.
Right.
It's just a very, very diverse
homeless
group of people. We have moms that are homeless. We just have a very it's a wide range.
And I assume, and which is wonderful, and that's the way life should be, shouldn't it? But
makes it very rich.
Yes, very rich. So I assume those who can afford, I mean, this is something I think is pretty clear, given your, I think it's called the Karma Doula program, people who can afford to pay for all of these services in full, correct?
Correct.
And then a percentage, and do you mind saying what percentage goes back into the organization from the doulas and the classes or services?
From the doulas, it's 10% of their fee, and it's a sliding scale fee based on income, and each individual doula, sometimes doulas are able to set their own rates as well. Okay. Because we have doulas that are very experienced and we have brand new doulas. And so the range of prices for doulas can vary as well. But they all give 10% back to the organization. Minneapolis and St. Paul, the Twin Cities, is actually, there's a lot of doulas here in the Twin Cities. I think we have the most doula-attended births than any other state in the country.
Which is crazy. Minneapolis, Minnesota, it is just, one of the most wonderful states in my mind. I mean, I have spent time there, and I had a son who lived there off and on for years, still goes back and forth. And I just think it's so progressive in so many ways. And then I think, why do you have to have winter?
Seriously.
Yes, seriously.
But when spring comes, it's so glorious.
Oh, it is so glorious. I know it is. It's just, woo! I give you more credit than you know for being able to maintain a life there. So I'm trying to get clear again about the program. And the reason I'm asking for clarification is, part of the purpose of having you on here really is to hear your story of how this is came to exist, what you do offer, to be an inspiration to others out there that this can actually happen in other communities, because it's a great role model for what we want as far as we believe ToLabor does, that everybody deserves a doula, and that it is all about compassionate care, and that yes, you are valuable, so you should get paid, but being paid isn't what makes you valuable. So I love this, paradigm that has been created here. So doulas can charge whatever they want, or is that what you're saying?
For private clients.
For private clients, right.
Yep. And our doulas, we have about 40 doulas that are contracted with Everyday Miracles, and they typically balance the amount of Everyday Miracles clients that they're taking with private clients.
Got it.
It's pretty typical that our doulas take about one Medicaid client a month, and then supplement that with private clients, just because the rate is very low and it's very challenging for them to make a living only taking Medicaid clients.
Got it.
So there's usually a combination of that as well. So we have a couple of different models of doula care. So we have individual doulas that take clients on their own, pretty similar to what it would look like when a doula takes a private client. They meet with them 1 to 2 times prior to birth. They're on call for their birth and meet with them, 1 to 2 times postpartum as well. We have another partner organization that has sprung out as one of our programs of Everyday Miracles called the Karma Doula Collaborative. And this is a group of 6 doulas that work together. And they have a couple different, they're trying to balance both making doula support accessible to more people, along with making doula work sustainable and accessible for the women doing it. Because, we are always trying to find that balance of valuing this really hard, important work that our doulas are doing with, the ability to be able to continue that work and to sustain that work.
Right.
And so this collaborative works as a group of 6 doulas that work with clients together, and they're able to take a number of MA clients a month and balance that out with the amount of private clients they take. So that's kind of something new, a newer program that we are working with that we're excited about. A pilot program.
That sounds great. And so how many people would you say, I mean, you must be keeping all the numbers. So last year or the year before, whatever is most current, how many clients are coming through your doors that are actually on the Medicaid program?
I would say an average of about 300 to 350 a year.
Wow. And then what, do you have an idea of what the numbers are of others who are coming through who are not on Medicaid, but, and are in all that different economic strata?
Yeah, that's all pretty new.
Yeah, that's hard to say because it's really been in the last year that we've been trying to promote our services outside of our clients, and that's just been another additional way to help try to raise revenue for Everyday Miracles. So that's newer. That's really just been in the last year, so it's hard to say what that is. It's growing greatly, but it's really in its very early
infancy.
Stage.
Yeah, okay. So that is new. That's good clarification. It wasn't a part of this right from the beginning. This was something that makes sense to add on. Also, as you said, you've got these great services.
We just needed to find other ways to sustain the program.
Right. And where else do you get funding?
With the Medicaid funding, we do a lot of fundraising. Mm-hmm. We have supporters through private contributions. And that's where the majority of our funding comes. Grants, there are some grants, but grants are very limited and time. We have a very small staff right now. It's just Melissa and I.
Right.
So to have the time to even write a grant is incredibly challenging, and they're so competitive.
They are, and I think they're going to get even more competitive now than ever before.
I agree.
With funding being cut everywhere, it's going to be a desperate knocking on the door of many people. Since you are, and maybe this is something you can or can't address, since you are working with a population that's largely immigrant, there must be concerns in the communities, added stress in the communities about immigration policies at this point.
I get kind of emotional when that gets brought up. There's a big added stress in the community. I find the Muslim community to be the most gracious and forgiving people I've ever met. But there's a lot of fear and uncertainty, which is an incredibly motivating factor for us to keep going so that these families have a place that they can come, that they know they're safe, they're wanted, they're valued and appreciated. But yes, it's a very big stress.
Well, that is really beautiful, Debbie, and I am so grateful for that place for them to be able to land. I mean, I assume that when you are working with these people on an everyday basis, prior to some of these new changes that are trying to move forward, there was always an additional stress in their lives because they are from outside of the country. They are Muslim. They are different, quote unquote.
Without family?
I'm sorry, without family. So they already have a great deal of stress coming into their pregnancies. Are there how far do you all go as far as services, resource? I assume you're a resource center then.
To to the best of our ability.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're limited on what we can do.
Right. You're not medical, so trained in that way.
Nothing medical.
Right.
But a lot of our clients do continue to come to the space for classes, for chiropractic. They stay connected to the community. We're really lucky that we've had some really wonderful doulas from the Somali community specifically to help kind of maintain those relationships, to keep cultivating those connections, and also for us to learn from, because, it's new for us. We want to be sensitive to a culture that we don't identify with, and so we've been really lucky to have our doulas be able to teach us and to be able to learn from them how to best work in communities that we are outside of, really.
Right. So truly creating community doulas is what you're helping to support, which is what can make such a difference in the communities that I don't understand. That's not who I am. So though I can have empathy and I can have an open heart and mind, I don't know. It's not my norm. And it's
right.
Yeah.
Right. Even just in the smallest things, I remember that we were putting out a fundraising flyer, then we were working specifically with Muslim populations, and I put a photo of a breastfeeding mother on the picture, and one of our doulas had to point out to me that, hey, this isn't appropriate for the group of people that we are trying to reach out to. And it was very simple, but it made me very grateful for her and for her wisdom in
right.
something that
and the way that they so gently teach us too.
Right. Well, that is, and I agree with you. The gentleness in being taught goes a long way. I mean, people have the right to do it any way they want, to let you know that this isn't correct. But it is nice when it's a gentle bit of information. It certainly makes us more able to listen, I think, when we're talked to in a different way. What are the greatest challenges with all of this?
Oh, I bet you could guess.
Yeah. But why don't you speak to it?
Fundraising and finances have been an issue all along. Probably more so in the past few years. I know more so in the past 4 years. Seriously, when Mary and I started the program, we thought it would be super easy, because why wouldn't people want to donate large amounts of money to such a wonderful cause?
Right.
And they do. But it's just always been a challenge. It's always been a challenge. I think unless you really understand the work, people can tend to look at it as that's a really nice thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a really nice thing to do, but it has great outcomes.
Right.
Great outcomes that change people's lives forever.
Forever. And so important for that new baby that's coming into the world. It's truly giving that baby the best opportunity in a world that is difficult for anyone, but could be more so if you're at greater risk already in your ability to live. It is a shame that financial is the big hurdle, because as you said, we've had this discussion for years in many organizations that I've been a part of, that one thing we all have in common is that we were all born, meaning that we were all babies, and that we all know babies are still coming into the world. And you would think that would be the number one, that's a good issue I can attach myself to. If this is going to happen, how can I help make it the best outcome overall? Do you have other things that you see as you've overcome challenges that you thought, this was going to be really hard to do, and now you go, that was such a success? I mean, you must have a lot of feelings of success. I'm sure many, or I hope not a lot, of those that just feel like it it was too much of things were too challenging. But there must be a lot of success that comes from all of this as well.
There absolutely is, and I think Melissa and I were just actually talking about this. You tend to get caught up in the day-to-day stuff of everything that needs to be done, the things that the requests that we can't fulfill because we don't have enough staff, we don't have enough doulas, there's that lack mentality that you get caught up in.
Right.
But then to take a step back and realize that, yes, so far this year we've served 100 families.
That's great.
There's moms that come in on a regular basis just to check in with us and let us know how they're doing. If a mom's in crisis, this is a place she comes. And I find that's a huge, huge success, that moms feel safe and they can come back.
Right.
And tell us they need help or just for somebody to talk to.
Yeah, sometimes the biggest successes feel less kind of quantifiable. Like it's more just in those exchanges with the clients that we're working with. And one of the things that I know Debby has said and that we've talked about over and over again is there is a lot of challenge in trying to continue to sustain a nonprofit, a small nonprofit. It is very challenging most of the time. But what is so inspiring is the moms that we work with because they are so resilient. They come, so many of them, from just such hard circumstances, and they just work so hard to do the right thing for their families and to take care of their babies and just show up every day. And so it's hard to not show up every day when our moms are showing up so much.
Right.
They're incredible. And so those are the successes, but it's less, you can't necessarily quantify that in percentages, I guess.
No, and nor would I want to actually, but I think I hear you 100% that that is what we have to remember, though I totally hear you, Debby, and the fact that, there's always that struggle too, because you want, because of those successes, those intangible successes that you want it to continue and you need to make it continue. So there's a reality to it as well. So when you were first starting, before this law was passed with Medicaid reimbursement, were you being funded through the state somehow, a state program, or was it?
No, well, we had funding through one PMAP is what they're called here, prepaid medical plan, who paid us for education.
Okay.
We had more grant funding. I think when the Medicaid bill went through, there's a lot of thought out there that, they get reimbursed now.
That they don't need,
Don't need, not as great of a need when actually the need has gotten greater.
Right. And how do you...
Always fundraising, contributions.
How do you get, what is your relationship as far as referrals go? I mean, how do people know that you all exist? Besides, obviously, you must do on-the-ground kind of work yourself, which I'd love to hear about. But are there agencies, social service agencies or clinics or relationships? I know the hospital you said you have a relationship with, but how do the people know that you exist?
So we get referrals, and it's different kind of for each of our programs, but I can speak for the doula program and education. We get a lot of referrals from different healthcare providers and social services agencies. So lots of actual doctors, midwives, family physicians are referring their clients to us. We work with a lot of social workers and public health nurses and OB care coordinators. And then we also get a lot of referrals from moms that have heard about us from their friend who used us last year or a repeat client. So I would say that we probably get more referrals from referring agencies than we do from individuals, but we certainly have a fair amount of self-referrals as well, requesting our services.
Well, and I think that self-referrals grow in numbers. I mean, the more the more people who are served, the more who will say, oh, this is what I got, if they don't hear it from, some other source. Often it is in the community, and that just continues to grow. So your numbers, we hope, will continue to grow. Do you have a lack of numbers of, 40 doulas sounds a lot to me. Is that not enough doulas?
Yeah. It goes pretty quickly because, as I said, most of our doulas are not doing this work with our clients full time. So
right.
They're balancing doula support of our clients with individual clients, with families, with other full-time jobs. And
right.
so we have 40 doulas, and they're amazing. They're incredible and super, super passionate about this work. But doula work, as you know, is very demanding. And so it is being on call 24/7. It is it's a very high degree of commitment that they're giving our clients, and so that limits how many clients that they can take. So,
right.
What we really do need more doulas all the time, and because that's one of the ways that being tied to Medicaid reimbursement maybe has created some additional challenges for us as an organization, because our doulas not only have to be trained, they do also need to be fully certified and on the state doula registry, which brings up additional expenses for our doulas. So it's more expensive to go through that certification process, to be certified, to maintain that certification, to be on the state registry. And for our doulas that are already making, in some cases, half of what they'd be making if they were working with private paying clients, it creates some challenges of how many doulas are really able to do this work. So yeah.
So you're always, and that makes total sense, because from our research, by doing a survey, nationally, it seemed that most doulas who are practicing, on the average, take 1 to 3 births a month. There are some who will take, 5 or more a month, but on the average, it's 1 to 3. And they often also work for a year and then take time off or have another baby themselves, when, or get tired. Yeah, they realize, oh, this is harder than I thought, so they don't, there's a high turnover rate in the doula world as well. So it makes sense that 40 sounds a lot to, on the surface, but when you dig down into it, yeah, you need more. So you're always looking for that. What does it take? In order to be on the doula, to be on the state registry, is that a process, or is that something you just help them be a part of on the state registry?
It's pretty easy. It's a form that has to be filled out. There's a fee of $136 for 3 years. You have to be certified by a recognized agency, a doula agency. The state does a background check, and then they just keep you on file. Got it.
So
I think it's the certification process that creates a challenge for many of the doulas, because, as you know, with most certifying agencies, you have to do a certain amount of births, which makes complete sense. But a lot of these doulas then are doing those births pro bono. They're not getting paid for those births. They're paying for childcare. They're taking time off of paid employment to do those births. And all of those expenses really add up. So I think there's fewer doulas who are actually going through the certification process and finishing the certification, because especially for a community like the Twin Cities, where there's a lot of doulas and a lot of clients that are looking for doulas, when really a lot of people feel like it's not worth the time, the money, and the effort to certify, when really the only thing that allows you to do is work with Medicaid clients, and working with Medicaid clients
doesn't pay you well. Yeah.
A much smaller fee than you could get with working with private clients. So I think there's many fewer doulas who find that going through the full certification and registration process is something that makes sense for them.
Right, but which is unfortunate. I hear what you're saying. All of that makes sense to me on one level, and yet certification is what helps this be the profession that is recognized, that can be used.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're actually seeing a huge increase in certification in our organization, which I...
Can you send them all to us?
Excuse me?
Can you send them all to us?
Yes. Well, one is, quickly finishing her certification this week, so she can be working with you. So I'm really glad for that.
Wonderful.
I know that is, sure.
But we need to get more people who are able to do that. And I get the expense and I understand all of that. And so that's, it all has to be taken into consideration. It is, though, somebody who is not certified could come to you and just volunteer and not ask to be paid. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
we have a intern program.
Yep, we have a doula internship program where doulas can do births pro bono as they're working towards their certification. And our hope is always when they join us as doula interns that their ultimate goal is to complete their certification so they can continue to work
with you,
with us.
Yeah.
As doulas are doing those births pro bono, also as an organization, we aren't making any money off those births either, because in order for us to bill Medicaid for the work of those doulas do have to be certified.
Right.
So we're able to get experience, and we're able to serve more clients, which is always a good thing. But we're not able to bill for that work or to bill Medicaid for the work that those doulas do.
Totally.
The other challenge that we run into is there are populations of people that deserve and need to be served, but we cannot provide them a doula that speaks their language.
Yeah.
Because we can't figure out how to get those women certified.
Yes. So
have English as a real working language.
Right. Are there... Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Just accessibility, where we know that women would be greatly served by having a that speaks their language or shares their culture or their cultural experience, and that's ultimately what we would love to be able to provide, but we're limited in that just because oftentimes those are the women that maybe can't, just don't have the resources to go through a doula training program and to sustain that process enough to get to certification. So that is always a challenge for us as well.
Do you have volunteers who are working for you to help you in other ways besides the doula program? I mean, who are out there helping promote you that are connecting with these agencies, or does that fall all into your laps?
We definitely do have volunteers. So we have volunteers that help with administrative functions in the office. We do have a board, and they are all volunteers. But I think a lot of that work does tend to come back towards us. We're balancing lots of different plates. Right.
Which is always the case when it's a literally small nonprofit.
I'm sure you know.
Yeah. Yes. And having run other nonprofits, I certainly do know who gets the most amount of work. I know who that is. So if you could give a wish list, if you could give a dream, kind of like going to what was asked of you, Debbie, if you had, if you could do what you wanted to do, if you could dream something for this organization, what is it?
Oh, financial stability, we would have a house that all our classes could be held at, where people could cook. It always smelled like soup and homemade bread. Gluten-free, of course.
Yeah.
Women could just come and hang out there. The doulas, a multitude of doulas, more doulas than imaginable that could serve these women, and that the doulas be paid a living wage.
That sounds really, really like a great dream. And Melissa, anything to add to that?
No, that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. What does the future look like for you all? Do you feel like this is sustainable despite the struggles?
Ask me tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? We've come a long way in the past year. So yes, I do believe it is sustainable if we can keep up the pace.
And it's so hard because I don't have money to give in the big way, and yet I know wonderful people who do have a great deal of money. And in so many of those cases, it's really, even they have said this, it's not really hard for them to write a check. It's like, where are those people that you can just say, oh, can you just sustain us for 1 year or 6 months?
I know they're out there, and I know there are people that want to give.
Yes.
Don't know about us.
Yes. Well, maybe some of our listeners are those people or are connected to those people and can, point themselves into your direction or create this in some other way with other people. I guess the last thing I want to talk about is your outcomes again. So what about breastfeeding and, breastfeeding results?
They're amazing. So throughout the history of Everyday Miracles, we have averaged between a 94 to 98% breastfeeding initiation rate.
Wow.
Yeah. Everybody wants.
And what would the national average be approximately?
Oh, it was in the 70s.
Okay.
76%. Yeah. It might be a little higher now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not 94 to 98%.
Uh-huh.
And I think a lot of that is just having somebody that talks to them about, sorry about the noise.
That's okay. Life goes on.
We have our friends can be on our podcast that we're doing.
Yeah.
Say hello, everyone. 52% of those women, now we can't always reach the families that we serve, a year after the birth. But the ones that we have reached, 52% of those continue to breastfeed up to 6 months,
right.
Or at 6 months.
And that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Because the national average, I know, is lower than that.
Right.
Do you feel like you've impacted cultures that wouldn't necessarily, there are certain cultures where breastfeeding just isn't the norm. It's just not the norm. Besides, our own culture has struggled with that, but other cultures.
Yeah. I do think it makes a difference, especially if you're working with a doula that looks like you.
Right.
And can talk to you about breastfeeding, or if you're coming to a place where that's the norm. Years ago, we had a young African-American woman who would just pop in and take a nap on the couch and hang out. And her baby was like a year old, and Mary and I went to a WIC breastfeeding seminar, and she was a guest speaker and stood up in front of a whole group of people and breastfed her baby and talked.
That's great.
It was so amazing.
Yes. So you're helping create that as a norm, which we all know, not only is it beneficial to the baby, it is beneficial to the woman, we feel, in her long-term health to be breastfeeding as well. And helping take away some of the stigmas also around it. Well, ladies, there are questions I know I'm going to be kicking myself after this saying, oh, why didn't I ask that? But is there anything else you would like to say? Because we've kind of jumped from here to there and all around, and I apologize for that. That just is how it was working out. Anything else you want to talk about before we say so long?
This has been super helpful for me personally to just have the time to sit and talk about the work that we do and to, again, remember why we do the work.
Well,
so I thank you for that. And you made it really easy. Thank you.
Well, I am glad that you took time to reflect on this, because I have heard about you through the last few years and been aware that you existed and have known what you're doing. And I feel always I send out a message of gratitude that you are doing this really hard work. I mean, I think anybody who's working in this field, it's hard, no matter whomever you're working with. But when you're offering yourself out there and helping to get resources to people who would never get this or are at high risk for high risk outcomes, it is such a gift, literally such a gift to those people. And I know you would like to be able to serve so many more people, but we all know that one person you're working with, that difference that you have made in their life, whether you're even aware of what that difference is, for that moment it was a different, and how it's always there. It's cellular from then on. And for the baby, what a great beginning for the baby. To have that kind of support around them and that intention of care. So I'm glad you are reflecting. I hope it can be more often. And Melissa, thank you for all the work you're doing to help Debby make this organization continue to run.
Wasn't that for Melissa?
Right. Well, it takes a village, and right now you're the two, right? Plus all the other people who are...
doulas,
and the amazing doulas.
Yes, and your practitioners who are teaching and offering services as well, absolutely. But without you all, you're the glue. So I really appreciate it. And if anybody is interested in contacting you all, your contact information, your website, and your email?
Yes. Yep. Everything, they can contact us from our website, call or email us. Yes.
And your website is
everyday-miracles.org.
Okay. And email address to reach you at best?
info@everyday-miracles.org.
Great. And I look forward to hearing how things are going. Maybe we'll check in with you in the next, year to see what's transpired. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you. And thank you for the work that you do and for your awesome podcast. And I really enjoy it. As I told you when you called the other day, the second I heard your voice, I started completely being so excited to hear your voice. And we're huge fans of your podcast and for the work that you're doing and for the message that you're sending out in the doula world that is one of compassion and inclusiveness. We're very grateful.
Well, thank you for that. And we'll be talking to you again. Take care and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Thérèse. You too. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Thank you.
Bye now. So that was really wonderful. I really enjoyed talking to them, and I think it was wonderful to hear Debby at the end say that it helped her as well, because I think we all know that when you're doing such work, which is doula work or whatever your heart's passion is, you can often get lost in the minutia and the struggle and forget why you are doing this and where is the joy and what are the benefits. And so I recommend that to all of you, to pause for a period of time and consider, why am I doing this work? What is it giving to me? What am I learning? What are the struggles, but what are the joys? Because if there's not enough joy in this, and I don't mean being gaga happy all the time, but if there isn't more joy than there is struggle, it's something we need to look at and re-examine, either adjusting, leaving, or, coming to a place of understanding what that means and what that looks like. So it's good advice for myself that I'm giving. I want to thank them again, Melissa and Debby, for doing this and for taking the time today to talk to us. If you all have any questions, I know they are open to being communicated with, and check out their website, and if nothing else, be inspired that you are helping people. And maybe if you're so inspired and feel like this is something you could do in your community, dream big. So I hope everybody will have a great rest of the week. I appreciate everything that you're doing. Remember to breathe, and remember to not only give compassionate care, but allow yourself to receive it. So I'll talk to you again. Have a great week.